In this video, I'm pulling back the curtain to reveal how much I've earned from YouTube in the first 3 months of being monetized. Keep watching as I'll show you key stats such as my RPM, CPM, setup costs, and net position so far. Finally, at the end of the video, I'll also discuss my view on whether the effort is worth it, including tips and tricks to help you get started. In the first video I ever posted on the 12th of December 2023, I presented 10 ways to make money online. In this video, I talked about how creating YouTube content could be a great side hustle. And as there aren't many earnings videos like this one from small creators, especially in the personal finance niche, which is often believed to be one of the highest paying niches that there is, I felt it was important to be transparent with you on my actual results, thus confirming whether I was correct or not. With this said, let's start with a really quick introduction to me and the channel. So I'm a 35-year-old male living in the UK, and I work a demanding full-time job at a top bank and also make YouTube videos in my spare time. And unfortunately, I didn't have any videos blow up early on, and therefore it took me around 15 months and 50 videos to finally become monetized in March 2025, which, if I'm being completely honest, is a little disheartening. And it was very testing at times. And one of my biggest challenges for monetization was hitting the 4,000 watch hour threshold. So let's jump into what I'm sure you're all here for, the channel stats and how much I've earned. So as you can see, I've got 2,809 subscribers so far. Looking at my channel, over its lifetime, I've had 198,948 views, of which I've had 12,700 watch hours. And I've earned, I'll tell you that later. In terms of my best performing videos, the best one I've had is the UK average salary. Are you earning enough? At £66,969. If we dive into this video, I can show you what its RPM is, etc. So looking at this video, I've earned a total of £427.20 off this one video, of which I have a CPM of £14.37 and an RPM, so this is your revenue, this is the actual money that you take home, of £6.39. That's come from a mix of things such as skipple video ads, bumper ads, etc. If I then go back, you can also see my other next performing video, which is the UK spring statement. So this is around UK tax changes. Again, that had 16,402 views. This one, unfortunately, has had a poor revenue of £2.98, and this is primarily because it was released before I became monetized. The next best performing video in terms of views is a day in life working for an investment bank, the UK tax system, etc. So looking at the content, as you can see here, I've had 2.4 million impressions over the lifetime of my channel. And I have an impression click-through rate, so this is your CTR, of 5.8%, with an average view duration of 3 minutes and 49. If you were to look at this over the last 90 days, which is obviously probably the best indicator of how I'm currently doing, I've had 107,000 views, impressions of 1.3 million, and an impression click-through rate, again, of 6.1%. Over this time, as you can see, I've released 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 videos, with one just released today as well, but that's not shown just yet. As you can see, some of my videos have had 76% of people still watching after 30 seconds, which is pretty impressive for the UK ISIS under threat. 71% for Trump's tariffs, 71% for the UK wealth divide, etc. Some of my worst performing ones have been at 41%, 47%, etc. So this is quite important. This shows you the audience retention after 30 seconds, which is a key metric that YouTube looks at. Then looking at my audience, so in the last 90 days, I've had 8,500 people return, also had 85,000 unique viewers. So this is where it's really important to obviously try and convert these to subscribers. The UK tax system had a lot of people that returned after watching that. So this was probably because I had similar tax videos that people came back for, as well as the UK earnings. So I had lots of subscribers from this one, and then people came back. Now, looking at my revenue. So I'm going to first show you what March was, as this was the month that I first became monetized on. So looking at the start to the end of March, where I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos. However, I didn't become monetized until this video. I made a grand total of £344.79, which is pretty incredible. With the best performing day earning £76.41, and that's not even a day that I've got a video being released on. The worst performing day was probably around £1.09. Then, as you can see here as well, I had a mix of different earnings from that month. So the UK salaries earned me £264, UK tax system £33, etc. Then going on to April, which was my next best performing month, was £222.15. And this month I had 3 videos, of which my best performing day was £18.64. And the worst performing was probably £2.73. Again, in this month, that UK salary video was still bringing in a considerable amount of money at £153. And then the UK wealth divide was 28. Then going on to May. Unfortunately, this month wasn't very good at all, where I only just exceeded the threshold for payout, which is at £60 in the UK. And then a grand total of £67, again with 3 videos released. The best performing day was £8.52. The worst was probably around 94 pence, as you can see here, which is not good at all. Again, the UK salary was still earning okay at £7.76. However, it was starting to die off, and it has died off since. The best performing one was the UK cash ISA allowance. Just to show you again the RPM and CPM on this one, it's probably good to show you. So the CPM is £10.40 with an RPM, which is crazy, of £22. And you can see that this RPM is actually higher than the CPM, and that's because those change per day. This is what I actually got paid. So at some point it must have been considerably more. So let's see if we can see any more information on this. Yeah, so as you can see, on some days I was getting £42.25 as an RPM, which is incredible. Now going to the lifetime of my channel, as you can see, I've had a grand total of £645.59, which is pretty impressive. You'll see also that I did make a bit of money in February, and this was related to a super like, which was good to see. So in terms of the last 90 days, I've had an RPM, so this is revenue per mil. So for every 1,000 views, I've earned £5.79, which isn't too bad. Just to show you how this looks for some of the videos when it comes to your CPM and your RPM. So this video here, I was making £3.73 per RPM. However, the CPM, which is obviously the cost per mil, this is what the advertisers have to pay to YouTube, was £6.91. So again, significantly lower. This could be due to people using ad blocks, etc. And just to show you the RPM of all of my videos, the UK salary was £6.39. UK wealth divide is £5.44. A day in life working for an investment bank, £4.15. UK ISA allowance was £22. The major ISA reforms are £6.23, and so forth. So as you can see, it's a real mix of RPMs based on the video. Now you've seen my channel stats, I also want to talk about my setup costs, because this is equally very important. And obviously, if you've got costs to set up, you need to understand how much these are versus your revenue to see your net position. So I spent a grand total of £4,794 buying my equipment, paying for software, editors, and so forth. I have sold £113 worth of equipment, and this is when I upgraded my microphone, so my Rode Wireless Me and my lavalier mic. This left me with a net position, i.e. a net spend of £4,681. So when you break this down and then you look at the income, so this is the income that I actually have in my bank account, and this is from things such as AdSense, as well as a partnership agreement that I have, minus my expenses of £4,682, I'm left with a net position so far of £4,037. So this shows you that I'm actually not making money right now. However, I am confident if I keep doing this, if I keep making good videos, then hopefully I'll make money over the long term. And you don't have to buy all the expensive equipment that I did. You can see that I spent money on some very expensive things such as 2 cameras. Like, you don't need 2 cameras, you could have used an iPhone. I've then got a lens for the camera. So if you think about the lens and the camera, that's £838, which is a lot of money. plus your memory cards, etc. So you could get started with an iPhone. If you are to invest, people say to invest in a microphone first, because that's very important, in addition to lighting, because that also helps to make a good screen. Actually recording on your iPhone at first is pretty easy, and it's a lot easier than setting up on a camera. There's other things that you can do as well. So for example, I've been using the free version of Final Cut Pro for 90 days to try it out, and that's something that you can do as well to try and save money. So now you've seen my stats, and hopefully you found these quite intriguing. Let's talk about some tips and tricks to help you to become monetized. So the first and most important tip that I can give you is that the topic is one of the most important things that you can have. If you've got a fantastically packaged video, so you've got good thumbnails, good titles, etc., but the topic is dull, boring, etc., people will click on, but they'll quickly click off. And that is contrary to what a lot of people say. A lot of people say your thumbnail and your title are the most important, which equally they are, but you've got to keep the retention and you've got to keep the audience watching. And my second tip is don't just try and copy other people's videos. You see this all the time, and to be honest, if someone's done it well, don't just try and copy it because you're just going to look stupid. You need to try and add unique information and novel ideas. As for me, any videos that I've done that have come up with something that's more unique than a similar topic that other people have done have significantly outperformed those videos. My third big tip, and this one is super important, so listen carefully. If you're using AI to help your script writing, which is what a lot of people do now, please, please, please ensure that the data is correct. You may or may not be aware, but AI can hallucinate and make up information and stats, which I've seen people that have copied versions of my video, for example, the one with the UK average earnings, and they've used AI, which they've not checked that the data was correct, and it's just made up figures. And people that know what they're doing can quickly spot this. And if you lose credibility, they won't come back to your channel. So be really careful that if you're using AI, that what you're sharing is correct and the figures aren't made up. Now, the next big one from me, and this one's equally as important. If you need to take a break for your mental well-being and health, please don't be afraid to do so. Personally, when I was getting married last year, I took a break for about a month and a bit where I focused just on the wedding. Obviously, trying to do YouTube videos while preparing a wedding wasn't going down too well with my wife, so I took a break. But what I learned at that point was that by taking that break, I was able to reset my mental approach to YouTube, thinking about how I structure my videos, my packaging, etc. And actually, when I came back after that break, rather than being penalized by the algorithm, I actually had a significant uptick in my views. And I think that was down to me having a refreshed mindset, obviously being very happy after recently getting married, but also being able to reset and refresh. Now, the next big one, and this was one that I didn't really listen to other people, but you don't need to spend a fortune on equipment early on. It's more important to make good content rather than having the latest camera that costs thousands and thousands of pounds. If you are going to focus on one thing, people say to focus on your audio first and then your lighting second. You can record lots of videos on your iPhone, etc. And to be honest, recording on an iPhone is actually a lot easier at first than trying to use a proper camera, which is what I've got now. So don't spend a fortune, put yourself into debt, etc. trying to buy the perfect studio, because it's not needed. And also, you don't know if you'll ever make it on YouTube. Now, my next big tip is that you will be scared before you first hit record and post. And honestly, it's completely natural. Even myself now, 55 videos plus in, I do still get apprehensive when I'm about to hit record. And that's completely natural. And to be honest, that is good. So your videos are always going to get better. My first video was terrible. I actually hate looking at it now, but I've left it there because I want people to be able to see it, and also so I can see how far I've come. But you will be scared. Just try and get past that fear. See it as a really rewarding thing later on as you start to develop and your video skills get significantly better. So let's jump to the final question. Is setting up a YouTube channel worth it? In my view, yes, but it's definitely not a get-rich-quick scheme, and it can be extremely tiring, especially if you have other commitments such as family, socializing, and work. And you do need to enjoy it from the start, otherwise you won't stick to it and you will burn out. See YouTube as a long-term project. Don't think that it's going to get you rich really quickly and set all of your hopes and dreams on that, because I promise you, you're more than likely going to be disappointed. Now, some people do blow up overnight, but that's not the norm. And that's extremely rare. As I said, I took 15 months, 50 videos before I even made any money from YouTube. And another thing is, don't quit your full-time job unless you have other sources of income, as YouTube isn't reliable. And people talk about this all the time on Reddit, etc., where they were making a lot of money, the algorithm changes, and then they've lost a lot of money, and therefore they're struggling to pay their bills. And finally, enjoy it. YouTube can be great fun. It can be extremely challenging. It can be extremely stressful, but honestly, if you stick to it, if you enjoy doing these things, it can be extremely rewarding. And the potential of the income that you can bring in from YouTube is quite astonishing. So hopefully you found this video useful. Let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section. If you'd like me to do another one of these, maybe at 6 months, a year, etc., please let me know. Please like and subscribe, and I'll make sure I do that for you. Until next time, ta-ra.